Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Guido. This is the True Potential Show. And today we're continuing the online series with Koen Vaessen. And Koen, I spoke to you before. You were living in Barcelona at the time. And now you're
Correct.
living somewhere else. You're building the Vegan Academy. There are new steps that you made. And I would love to hear about them. So can you give us a little update about your situation, Koen?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you, Guido, for giving me the opportunity to talk here with you again. And yeah, there's been a lot of changes actually. I was, like you mentioned, in Barcelona back then. I was just in the early days of starting the Vegan Academy, bringing people together, organizing some boot camps and more like social events was back then, not as in like a structured business model or anything back then. And then, of course, the lockdown happened, which was very strict in Barcelona, which also made me, like rethink my whole business strategy and where I wanted to take the Vegan Academy towards to. And especially because I'm not really the kind of person that just goes gonna like sit and wait for things to change. I rather create change myself. And yeah, the first month was kind of tough. I must honestly admit also because I didn't really know what to do. I didn't really know how to pivot, what I really wanted in the first place as well. But then I quickly realized that I just needed to take responsibility for the situation and own it. And made me realize that just online were just so much opportunities for me to expand my business and to really put it out there as like an online community and online coaching. So that's basically what I did. I launched a couple of online products. I started my own podcast as well, inspired also on the first episode that we did together. And from there on, since the lockdown was just keeping on, and I kind of had this gut feeling that it wouldn't be the last of it and that it would be maybe a second lockdown later in the year as well. I just felt like, me and my girlfriend, we were looking at each other. She's from Slovenia. She kind of felt already a longer period of time to move back home, also to spend more time with family, etc. So it was just like, the situation came together that I said, okay, I think this is a good moment. I have a little bit of budget to fully commit to the Vegan Academy. I'm happy to also do something different and not work for a boss anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to go home. We have a little house here. So it was kind of like the whole opportunity of being able to shift away from this busy metropolitan state of living to a more rural, focused on my business way of living, which has been a real blessing, I must say.
Okay. Wow. So that went quite fast then, because like last time that we spoke to each other, it was, if I'm not mistaken, end of April, beginning of May. And
Probably, yeah.
now, now we're like 9 months further and you're like in a total new, place, like living
Yeah.
wise, right? So it
Yeah.
went quite fast altogether.
Yeah, that is also funny that you mentioned just before we started the podcast that like for me it's like, it seems kind of normal nowadays because for over the last 3.5 years more or less I've been living in different areas of Spain, now Slovenia then, and pretty much every like 5 to 6 months I changed places. I went to other areas.
Yeah,
So
you
I
lived
don't really
like,
question.
how long did you live in Gran Canaria? Like 9 months or
I was
something?
9 months in Gran Canaria, then I was like half a year in Mallorca. Then I was a couple of months in Tenerife. Then I went, I think, to the Netherlands because I got robbed, which
Oh,
was a
wow.
whole other story on its own. Then I got actually to Barcelona, took a little detour in Mallorca again, and then I stayed in Barcelona. So I've been like various places over the last 3 years. And
Together
you
with your
get,
girl? Was that all?
basically also because we got to know each other in Gran Canaria already. And then
I
we went
remember.
together to Mallorca. We went together to Mallorca the second year, or if she was already there and then I came after. So we have been mostly together over the last 3 years also, yeah.
Cool, man. And is she like doing something for the Vegan Academy also, or like
She,
behind the scenes? Because
yeah, she's a little
I
bit
was
behind the
talking,
scenes.
with Niels, and you know Niels, like
Yeah,
he's now
yeah.
also like one of the Green Musketeers. I was talking with him, and he said like, yeah, but where is she then? And I was like, I think she's more the behind the scenes girl, fixing some things and helping him with other things, but not going like on camera so much yet.
Yeah, no, she's the rock absolutely for me. Like in emotional and spiritual support, and also within the business, she's not like fully into it. Let me say it like that. but she does help wherever she can. She has, especially in the beginning, helped me a lot with designing aspects, social media, content creation, a lot of things that I wasn't very skilled in myself. I luckily have been able to level up my skills in that area quite a bit myself. But yeah, that's basically where she supports me in that area mostly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So the Vegan Academy, and so can you give us an update? What is the Vegan Academy now doing? And because it was
Yeah,
really like in the first step
exactly.
process 9 months ago, and now what's cracking, Koen?
Yeah, a great question. So I really realized, and especially actually just the last month or two, that first of all, it has been difficult for me as well. Starting up my own business, really making that full-time commitment of saying, okay, I'm not going to work for a boss anymore. I have this X budget, and that's what that's it, right? If it's finished, it's finished. So standing fully on my own leg, not having that security anymore, doing things way outside my comfort zones, a lot of things that I've never done before, made me basically also question like pretty much my whole identity and everything that I stood for as a person. And it made come up like a lot of challenges in myself and a lot of like disbeliefs, being unworthy, being not good enough, all these different things that I questioned in myself. Like, will I actually be able to pull this off, and will I actually be able to succeed? So I feel that was definitely a big part of me that helped me back from doing what I really love to do. And that was a big obstacle that I needed to overcome last year, pretty much. Besides like growing my business itself. And now the last couple of months, I've been really diving through that, overcoming that. And I also have seen that at first I was kind of broad and not so specific who I really wanted to help. I kind of wanted to help just everyone living a healthier vegan lifestyle. While now actually the people that resonate with me and the people that come on my path are mostly all females, and like at least like 80% of them. And the big problems that I see has a lot to do with building healthy relationships with food. So a lot of diet mentality, a lot of insecurities, and a lot of lack of confidence. These are kind of like the main things that I see, like wanting to be a better role model for kids, or wanted to be just happier and healthier within their own body. So that's kind of how I'm shaping now my new program, and are also the people that I'm actually helping with at the moment. It doesn't mean that I don't want to or cannot help other people with other categories, but I see that that's kind of now getting my main focus. So it has a lot to do with intuitive eating, mindful eating, and nutrition is a big part of my coaching and my passion. You know that, of course. So that's also one thing that I'm really focused on within the Vegan Academy: whole food, plant-based nutrition.
Yeah, Koen was already like soaking seeds and preparing like the most amazing, delicious, healthy ice cream and stuff in 2017, man. So I know that. Yeah, we go a couple of years back, and that was interesting. Also, like last time, and I noticed, and I don't even remember, like, it was also in your podcast that you were asking me some questions about it, or I did it to you. That we talked also about like how your perspective changed so much on what was actually the way, to look at like how to share food and stuff. And I remember that just very well, that you came back on that topic, and I was talking recently with Niels, and then I said that to him, and he was also like, wow, man, yeah, and I also did so many things wrong in the past, and now I look so different. And I was like, yeah, man, but isn't that just like the way that we all grow? Like,
absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
fantastic, man. So also amazing that you're like going on the direction of intuitively following like your own body. And I think that is really the way to go. Like, there's not like one blueprint that is working for everyone, right? Like,
Exactly.
or what is your approach on that?
Yeah, totally. I'm like the thing for me, what has been the biggest shift throughout the last year, is that I suddenly started to realize a lot more things that I was doing, why I was actually doing them. A lot more of my own patterns, a lot more of my own behavior and my own routines. I started to analyze because I exposed myself to so many more people and to so many more experts, coaches, dietitians, all these people which I was interviewing on my own podcast. And suddenly, like my knowledge broadened so big. that made me question a lot of the things that I was doing myself. And I think that has been, yeah, a huge transformation for me, because no longer was I just doing things to do them, even though I had my own routines and I'm very strict at it. And I understand why I do my routines, of course. I understand why I eat certain way and why I train certain way and why I take care of myself in a certain way. But especially when it comes to like intuitive living and intuitive eating, that was something so normal to me that I never really questioned that. And when I did this podcast with Charlene Adrians, she's a intuitive eating dietitian from Bruges, from Belgium,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that was like a whole eye opener for me. And then I really started to think like, okay, so this is actually called something. Like this is just not like I'm just not eating like X, but I'm actually just listening to my body, and that's how it's called.
Yeah,
That's
with
like
X, you
the
mean like the letter X, right? Like random.
yeah.
It's not like to get the confusion out, you
No.
know?
I mean the letter X. Yeah.
The Vegan Academy is obviously also not eating eggs, so
No, not
no
X.
one in the Vegan Academy.
No, definitely not. So yeah, for me, like intuitive eating and intuitive living has everything to do with like tuning in with your own body and asking yourself more questions like, why am I doing this? Am I actually hungry? And it has everything to do with like listening to these signals. And a big way of doing that is actually releasing or letting go of all the rules that we have built up, because throughout our lives, we create all these rules for ourselves, like how about food, about our body, about our environment, all these things that we see as truth. But as long as you keep on holding on to these so-called truths for yourself, it's very difficult to create to create new rules and to create
Mm-hmm.
new standards basically to live by, right? So one thing that I always work on with people is letting go of that whole script that you wrote for yourself and kind of like rewriting your script. I think that's a very important part of intuitive eating, because I really liked, and I think this is from Sadhguru. I saw a lot of him, and he mentioned once, like, if you wake up in the morning, everybody, or Dandapani actually said this, if you wake up in the morning, you have like a certain amount of energy available,
Mm-hmm.
but having to like live up to your own identity and having all these rules takes up a huge amount of that energy. So the
Yeah,
more
wow.
rules, yeah, the more rules you have, and the more the bigger your personality and all the stuff that you identify with, the more energy is kind of lost, and the harder it actually is for you to change something and to actively be a player in your own life. So a big part in making change is like lowering all that load and lowering all those things that you identify with, so you create space, and by space you create energy to start creating the new. And I think that's a really important process in transforming your health, transforming your life, transforming your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, yeah, Danapani. They make me think of. I saw him actually with my brother
Ah,
in
yeah.
the London Real Summit in 2019,
Oh,
and then he was like. And now, when you say this, I thought about like how he divided like the focus of consciousness and the mind, and that he brought like up that consciousness you could see as sort of the torch, what you can hold, or you can look in different chambers of the mind, or different
yeah.
rooms, if you will. And then he said like, yeah, so you did an experiment, so you can close your eyes, and you can do this experiment now with me if you want. Like, you can close your eyes. He said like, go to your favorite holiday destination, make it as bright as possible, make it as beautiful as possible. And then he said, how are you feeling? Exactly. And then he said, okay, so now the next destination that we go to is when you graduated for the last time. Like, no matter what kind of graduation, like anything, even like something that is not like school related, just like a graduation from something. And if you never graduated, that you won a championship or something, a medal or whatever, how are you feeling? And then he said, okay, and now we go to the last time you really came into a big fight with someone, really had an argument about something, and it was completely out of control, and it was not going anyhow to become a situation that you thought like, nice. It was like just totally bad. And then he said like, and darken that image a bit, because it's not something that you wanted. like don't give it the same color. And then he said, okay, now open your eyes. And he said, like, look, we already went in 3 different rooms of your mind, and your consciousness is just like illuminating those rooms of your mind, and you have so many rooms. And
I love
I
that.
mean, it was kind of simple experiment, but it was just like very clear all of a sudden, like, yeah, you have actually control over which rooms you are visiting.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I love that, man. So yeah, thanks for being the participant and me demonstrating what I learned there. But yeah, Dandapani, you mentioned him, but actually, Koen, I'm also curious because you're doing so much with food. What did you have for breakfast today?
Oh, that's a good one. I had a big bowl of oatmeal today.
Yeah, nice,
Yeah,
nice. So you can actually eat oatmeal as well. Like you're not
of
only
course.
eating celery
No,
juices.
I think that's kind of like the biggest misconception that people have around food and also about veganism, of course, is that suddenly you can only eat like lettuce or what.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and that's what I see with a lot of the women, especially that I speak with, is that they have this restrictive diet mentality, which says to them, you can only eat X, or having to cut out whole certain food groups, like carbs are bad for you, fats make you fat, you can never eat bread, or you can never eat ice cream, or you can't have chocolate. And I'm all about balance. I'm all about promoting health and promoting like wellness and well-being in general, because life is balance, right? You got to find the balance, and everything time that something gets like obsessive, it's never good. You can also be obsessive about health. You also have to find a balance in that. And I think a lot of people have heard about like the 80-20 rule, and I think that's a good standard to live by, as a, yeah, also not a rule, but to give you like a guideline of understanding, um, that you can have balance in your life. And for me,
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
comes very intuitively. It's not something that I think like, oh, 80-20, that means out of the 10 meals, I got to eat 2 that are more processed.
No,
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 that's for me not
exactly,
how it
because it's just
works.
a rough line, right? Like it can
Exactly.
also be 90-10.
Exactly. And that's personally how I'm focused more, like probably 90-10. Um, and there's 10% of the times you just enjoy things and you let life be, because that's what I see that happens with a lot of people. Then they're so focused and so obsessed often with only eating healthy food that results into enormous binges, or it's like the forbidden fruit, right? The more you tell someone you cannot have a certain thing, the more you're going to crave that certain thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that's
Like
how
everybody
nutrition is used.
nowadays with shopping, no? Like because of
Yeah.
this or training, maybe gyms are closed. So
Yeah.
what I wonder, because you say like a lot of people, but how was this for you in the past? Is this something that you also did in the past that you feel like, like because you were so obsessed with being healthy in the past, it's now different, or is that not?
Yeah, I think it had like two sides to it for me, because I lived a very unhealthy lifestyle, and that kind of propelled me into becoming a lot more health focused.
Yeah,
And that also made me too focused on it. That made me
too focused
also,
on it. Yeah,
yeah, that
right,
made me
right.
kind of like, back then I was still living in Maastricht in the Netherlands, and we would go to parties in the weekend, and we would enjoy a drink out, and then at Monday I would feel bad about it.
And Monday, yeah, yeah, exactly,
I would
exactly.
feel like bad about what I did in the weekend, and I would feel that my progress would have lost. And that's like the negative part, and the guilt, they are probably even worse than the activity itself. I'm not going to promote that alcohol is good for you, and we all know that. But having a drinks once in a while, like, is not as harmful as, yeah, making yourself feel bad, because stress is a very toxic emotion to the body as well. It's a very toxic
Hmm.
part to the body also. So like having stress over something that you eat is probably a lot worse than just eating the thing and enjoying it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's something that I
especially if
really
it
had to
comes
learn.
back every day, right?
Exactly. And that's how a lot of people live. So we kind of have this, yeah. I also don't like the word like treat days or cheat days, or, because I feel like all food is just food, and you got to be able to enjoy all kinds of foods, all kinds of scenarios and situations, no matter if that's then necessarily put in the box like good or bad.
Yeah.
And that's a
So
whole different topic, of course.
Yeah. So why are you vegan then?
Why am I vegan? Yeah, that's a really good question. Like first of all, for the animals, of course, because I
Yeah.
really care, and I also feel it really from like an emotional and spiritual point of view that this is everything to do with aligning my own intentions, not wanting to harm any other beings,
Mm-hmm.
humans, but definitely also not animals, um, and aligning my actions with that. So as a result of that, I don't want to eat any animal products because I don't feel that for my needs someone else has to suffer. So that's a really big part of me. And then of course that there's the whole, yeah, like I'm really health focused, really health conscious. So I know I don't say that veganism is the only solution to be healthy or the only way to be healthy. I know that there's many more ways leading to Rome, but
Mm-hmm.
for me it's something that makes me feel really good. Also knowing that I have a clear consciousness and a clear mind in what I eat, and yeah, it gives me all the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, everything that my body needs to thrive. And then of course, yeah, there's very little impact of what I actually eat, right?
Yeah.
Like growing fruits and vegetables, and especially I really focus on eating as much organic. We do a lot of wild picking here in the season when it's available.
Nice, man.
So those kind of things are very important to me, and that also lowers like my impact that I have with the food that I eat.
So you also look to consume a lot locally there.
And here it's really big, and I think that's one of the things that I really love about Slovenia is that it's a small country, so people are very much pretty health focused in general as well. People are very much outdoors. People have their own little garden, especially during the summer days. You have a lot of markets. People buy local. If you go even here, if you go to Lidl, you do find, of course, like some tropical fruits or some more international fruits. But the majority, like I would say, like 70 to 80% of their fruits and vegetables is all from either the country itself or from neighboring countries. So from Italy or Croatia or maybe Bosnia. That culture is really big here on supplying for yourself, and people are super proud of it, super proud of their own products, super proud of what they get out of the earth and what they provide themselves and their communities with.
Oh, what's the most amazing thing that you harvested in the last since you're there?
I have not harvested so much myself yet because it was just like we came very late into the season actually
Mm.
last year, so it was kind of difficult for me to start. Also because I don't really have green hands, so I needed to figure this whole show
Oh
out.
wow, I have some recommendations video wise, but I will come back to that.
Cool. So I did get some carrots out of the garden. I did get like some beetroots and some other like dark leafy greens. Um, yeah, that was basically the main thing that I managed to get out of it. We are very blessed because we actually live in the old house of my girlfriend's grandparents. Um, and they're unfortunately not with us anymore, but we have been blessed with this beautiful space to live in. And there are some grapevines. We have a beautiful like kaki, which is like a persimmon tree, which is
I
like,
saw something. That's what I was
yeah,
thinking. Like, did you
56,
harvest?
yeah, 50, 60-year old tree. And it literally produced like 400, 500 kakis, which was like
Wow, I saw it
amazing.
on Instagram.
Yeah. We had the house full, like the
Yeah,
house full of these things, literally. It
you were
was,
like, Dagobert Duck, but then not in money, but in kaki fruits.
yeah, that's probably even better, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's direct,
Yeah.
right? So you cannot eat money directly.
Those things, and also like her uncles live here in the same village. They're farmers as well. It's a really a farmer culture and a farmer land in general. Of course, it's getting a little bit less because of newer generations wanting to move more towards the city. But also that comes and goes. So also at the same end, you have a lot of people actually going back into the rural communities and wanting the peace and the calm and growing their own fruits and vegetables again. So we get a lot as well. Like pretty much everyone around here has at least a little piece of land, and yeah,
Mm.
we get supplied with, yeah, you name it. We had chestnuts, we had apples, we had grapes.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Have you heard about permaculture or about food forests?
There are, and I know there's actually a young Slovenian couple. I think they are early 20s, which are very popular. They have this really big project going on. I think it's more in the center of the country. I forgot what their name is, but I know that they are pretty big. They have their own farm. They do all these kind of workshops and That's how they make some money. For sure now, with all that's going on, it's probably going to be a lot less. They sell some of their fruits and vegetables, and every Saturday we go actually to the market in a near village or in a near city, and there are, I think of the pretty much like 20 to 30 stands, there are 2 certified organic farms as well, and so I know that there's a couple of organic farms here in the area as well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I will send you a couple of links of interesting videos about like food forests, and yeah, I just see you in a food forest, man.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
especially
Myself
now
also.
you're going this direction of producing your own stuff. It's like what the name says, a forest, but then with actually living things that you can
Yeah,
eat. So yeah, in
it's
Slovenia, it's
amazing.
perfect climate for it. I checked it a little bit, and
Yeah, it's true.
what a life, Koen. What a life.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's true, because that's
So is it
especially
something?
in the summer also, like there's loads of fig trees and they just multiply because people spit out the pits, they let them grow. Like if you walk around here, like we ate so much figs last summer, and we didn't pay anything for it. There's just all grows in the wild.
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's the world. That's the world as well. Like in Gran Canaria, I realized that already with when I saw there were also the figs actually,
Mm,
and but different places. But it was only when you would go a little bit off grid,
yeah.
right? Like you wouldn't find it like in Playa del Ingles, for example. Like
No.
there's no like wild growing fruits or whatever. Everything is like, I remember like the worst was this tree was cut into a block, right? Like it was like a
Yeah.
cube, a tree cut in a cube, and it was like this is so it doesn't look nice, it doesn't look live. And I mean, I love that you walking the opposite journey now,
Yeah.
and really living the lifestyle that yeah. I mean, you told me already a little bit about this when you were in Barcelona, but I mean, telling it and doing it are two different things,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what we were talking about as well. So, what were some of the like obstacles that you had on the way of moving there? How was that?
It has been mostly just mentally and emotionally. I would really say, like overcoming my own internal struggles by doing things that I've never done before, like I said in the beginning, and like embracing that lifestyle, letting go of the wants and the needs and the results. That was a big one for me as well. Like I can be really because also like I like worked in retail management. I've been always quite the high performer. I always wanted to do better for myself, always wanted to improve myself, because there was also always this drive behind me of getting certain results within the company and getting results with studies, etc. And that's kind of what I took along with me always all these years. And when then you don't get results, then I really got like into this cycle of thinking negatively. Then the negative thinking produces more negative outcome, and then the negative outcome is starting to produce more negative thinking, which then gets you in this whole cycle of like a downward negative spiral. And that was really the most difficult thing for me. And also, like, I'm a super social person. Like, I love to be around people, I love to interact with people. And I think that was also one of the hardest things over the last year. I love to be here, and I'm very, very thankful to be able to be here with someone, together with my girlfriend, of course. But yeah, you don't speak the language. We live in a very small village, so there's not pretty much any contact with other people. So yeah, that was quite hard on me, I must say. And I do connect a lot online, but it's like you said in the beginning, like, nothing beats the real deal, right? We are social creatures, and like there's nothing that can compare to like the human touch and the human voice, the real life experience. And that those things were, I think, probably the biggest obstacles for me.
Yeah, wow, I totally feel that, man. Totally feel that. So let's also meet in the future, man. To be
Yeah, I would
continued on
love
that
that.
one. Yeah, man, for sure. Like it feels also, and I have to admit you something after I say that, it feels also like we go full circle then, because I mean you kind of like started your online or your of the Netherlands, your abroad adventures in Gran Canaria, living in a house habitat with with me more, and then later I think was Walter already living there when you came? No, eh?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
Walter came
Walter lived
after
there already.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Walter came after, exactly. And then later you go to Mallorca with Walter, and there you
Yeah.
met Mark. And now, like, if Mark and me and Case maybe will visit you, then it feels like we go full
Yeah.
circle. So that just
Exactly.
feels like the correct step or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk more about that. And what I want to know, like, more or less my last question. So maybe if you want to elaborate on that, like, what can we expect, or what can I expect from the Vegan Academy, the coming or people that are listening
Yeah.
for the coming month or 2, 3?
Yeah, so I'm really focused on getting my online presence more up and running, and especially, or not up and running because I'm out there, I would say.
You're running already. I have
I'm
to
running
say.
already. I show myself on a daily basis for sure. But to get more in touch with those people that I figured out that those are really the people that I can help and also really resonate with. So I'm really focusing my energy towards that, and especially also educating myself more on intuitive eating, anti-diet. That those are things that I want to develop myself further in. And then as well, like I'm still running the podcast. It's now getting close to 40 episodes, so that's something that I'm really passionate about doing. That's something that I will definitely continue to do. And I'm also actually doing a few collaborations with a few other health related businesses where I'm like giving some of my skills and services like to them. So that's a really interesting process for me as well to still have a little bit of security by doing these kind of things, and then still being as free and entrepreneurial as I can at the same time. And that's probably what you're going to see a lot more of. So for me now, the process is kind of like taking a little step back. That's what I felt that I needed to do now. Like take a little step back to zoom out. What is it actually that I really need to do, and what is actually that I want to do, and how can I provide a better service, better messaging to really align with the people that I can ultimately help.
Amazing, man. Koen, so your true potential also now to take a step back and zoom really out, right? And see the bigger picture for you as Koen. Like, I mean, you're building the Vegan Academy, but is it like the Vegan Academy wouldn't be true potential if you would be sometimes like exhausted, or like, so you
Yeah,
have to see where your energy stands at the moment. And then in this time in winter, it's also normal that people stand a little bit more still. I notice it myself as well. I stand a little bit more still sometimes, and then I more time for reflection, so we can act strong and fierce in the spring again, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's what they say, right? Like we as humans should also kind of evolve with the seasons and the winter. What do the animals do? They go inside, they hibernate. So what should we do as humans? We should also just go more internal and ask ourselves the questions where we can reflect on. And then, like you said, like the spring is a time of growth. So that's what's going to be in store for us, right? That's what the future future will hold for us.
Exactly. So the time for winter sleep, not like that you go fully doing nothing, but like in comparison to what you do in the spring or summer or maybe even autumn, like the winter, it's such a different kind of lifestyle that you live then.
Yeah,
And then I noticed that myself. Yeah, man. Is
true.
there something else that you want to say? Something that you want to say to me, to the people listening this, or to True Potential in general?
Yeah, well, the thing what I've really seen, especially like over the months working more and more with people, is that people just need to start doing. And I think that's like the ultimate thing is that there's all these different layers involved when it comes to being able to transform your life, right? And there's all these different aspects, your emotional, your physical, your mental well-being, all these different aspects that play a part in ultimately how well you're going to feel. But is this circle again? Like if you want to feel more confident, if you want to feel better about yourself, if you want to improve your health, you need to do something to step outside your comfort zone. And the biggest obstacle that people face is that they often don't have enough confidence or enough belief in themselves that they can actually do that. So they rather don't do it. So which happens is that we go into this cycle of always keeping on consuming, thinking that the answer is going to be in the next video, in the next program, the next workout or meal plan, while actually the answer is with us. And the only way how to break that is just by taking a simple step outside your comfort zone, because that's exactly what you need to build up that confidence, which will get you results, which will get you more confidence, which will propels you more forward. So I really hope if there's one thing that people can take away from that is just like having that faith in yourself that you can do it. And it doesn't matter if you make it straight away. It's like there's no failing. That's something that I really learned myself as well. Like they're only just lessons, they're only just opportunities for you to grow. And it's only failing if you quit, if you don't do anything with it. But as long as you just keep on trying, putting yourself out there, like it's important to ask yourself the question, like, what do you think is worse? What fears you most? Like doing something outside your comfort zone or staying exactly where you are for the rest of your life. And I think for most of us, the last one is probably the thing that scares us most. So what we can do is all within your control to change that, I would say.
Yeah, Aho. You have spoken, brother. Thank you so much, man. You can check Koen out at the Vegan Academy on Instagram, on Facebook as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, man, check your podcast on.
It's actually on Anchor, so anchor.fm/the Vegan Academy as well.
Anchor.fm/the Vegan Academy. Thanks so much for being here, Koen.
Thank you, Guido, for the opportunity.
Yes.
And it's so nice to catch up with you also.
Definitely, man. Definitely. That would be amazing. Have a beautiful, beautiful one. And see you on the other side. Let's say it like that.
You too. And all the best. Thank you for listening. Aho.
Aho.